So today we have a bonus install with our upper control arms because I got a spreader bar, which the purpose of is to keep the frame from flexing during hard cornering. And it works just like a turnbuckle. And I'm putting anti-seize on the heim joints that go in. Now this bar is threaded left-handed in one end and right-handed in the other. We'll see if we can be lucky and pick the right one. I don't think we did. Or I could have been turning it the wrong way, by the way. Try to turn it the other way. I guess this isn't the easiest thing to do when you don't know which way to turn it. They're not really marked. Okay, that is the one that is left-hand threaded. Turning it in the direction you would normally loosen, and it's going in. So what I'm going to do is run this in all the way to the jam nuts, and I'm going to put the other one on, run it in all the way to the jam nuts, and then the two brackets that mount it go on the same studs as the upper control arms. So, and there wasn't a description of this. I was wondering which side went up, but there was a picture. This slanted part is on the top rather than on the bottom. So that's how they go on. One on each end, each control arm. Anti-seize that one. And I just lost the cap to my anti-seize. Now this one threads in the normal direction, and the result that you have, that like any turnbuckle operates, is when you turn that middle rod, they will both loosen or tighten because of the left-hand thread on the one. Okay, it's going in. What we'll do is we'll put those brackets on at the same time we put the upper control arms on. They'll be held on by the same bolts, same studs, and then we'll connect up one of these ends. I'm going to do this end because it's a little harder to turn. And then you have to hold the other heim joint end and turn that center rod. Okay, I think we're ready to put the upper control arms and the spreader bar on. Those are the two studs on the frame that they both get attached to. I am going to take a little bit of anti-seize with me Control arm, pinch bolt in the front. That's the way they told me to do it. Goes on there. Now we add the spreader bar bracket. Slanted part going up. A little bit of anti-seize on studs. Bolt them on. And I got my newer gloves covered with anti-seize now. Let's take that off and work just with the rubber gloves. So put both bolts on here. These need to be torqued to 55 foot-pounds. Wonder if I should get some gear tools out to make this go faster. Okay, I'm going to tighten those two up, and then I'll do the same on the other side and be back to finish up the job. I'm getting ready to install the bar. Name is escaping me at the moment. The one that keeps the alignment in place. Spreader bar. So I'm going to put a bolt through here, bolt through do with one. Got three things to do. And only two hands to do it with. Doing a lot washers and nuts. There was some paint, and I thought I got it all off, that was in those brackets, and I thought I had it so that they would go in easily, and apparently I didn't. I had put nuts through these before, or bolts through them. I had slipped the hymens in. It's almost there. I'm sure if I tap that a bit, there we go, there it goes. I'm going to get the extra nut and bolts that are crawling under right now and getting those other ones. And I'm going to bolt this in. And I'm going to move the camera to the other side so that you can see what I'm doing. The adjust this spreader bar. The instructions say that after you get it in place, you're supposed to use a wrench on the spreader bar. There's no flat on the wrench that I can, or on the spreader bar that I can see, or you can actually put a wrench on it. All I see is a knurled part where maybe you can get a grip with some vice grips or something, or not vice grips, but channel locks or something like that. I don't know if this is going to be the best socket to use here. I think a shorter one's going to work better. Okay, we're going to tighten up the bolt that holds one of the spreader bar in place. Move the camera to the other side and get those that nut and bolt, nut and lock washer. So I can see the end of the spreader bar there, and it's hard to see. Oops, I forgot to move the light. That'll help a bit. But the idea here is going to be to adjust that spreader bar until it slips down into the bracket that holds it. I hope that's better. So I am going to put some NACs on the bolt. Probably should have put these in from the front since that's where I'm at. It'd be easier, but I was a little afraid that there might be clearance problems with belts or something on the back more so than the front. But okay, so it appears that I'm about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch short here. So by turning this rod, the instructions simply say to hold that end of the joint, but it's easier if you can slip it into that hole, because the bracket does the holding for you. You can get it between those two tabs. Sure, I got NACs all over me now, all over my gloves anyways. And there it's in. Be able to tighten it. The next part says, after I'm done tightening that, next part says to put a little bit of preload on the bar. By tightening down one of the jam nuts and then turning the bar. ratchet's bumping up against the bracket, so I'm trying not to scrape it. Tighten it with the wrench. So the spreader bar is in. Now the thing is, I'm going to tighten this one, which is turning that way. This is one of those slip wrenches that I'm not terribly fond of, but now it says to turn the spreader bar to put some preload on it. It was turning as I was tightening it, so maybe I already did it. Take a pair of channel locks on the middle part of the shaft. Instructions say to turn it half to a turn. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. I can't turn it at all. So jamming the other nut on is going to make that thing tight. So that will eliminate any flex in the suspension, or in the frame actually, on hard cornering, which, since I like to do autocross, that should be helpful to me. Okay, spreader bar is in.